Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the NPP is ready to give itself a political present. That could be a selection of a brand new set of executive or not for the current executive, substantive among which are all in acting capacities. And one of those seeking to be national chairman of the party is suspended second vice chairman Sammy Crabbe. Already there are strong opposing views about the legitimacy of his candidature from very strong quarters of the party. So who is Sammy Crabbe and how does he intend to get through this despite the albatrosses hanging around his neck? Mr. Crabbe is here in the studio with me. Sir, you're welcome. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And how are you doing in suspension?
I'm good.
You're good?
Well, I'm good. I don't call it a suspension. It's a coup d'etat. It was a coup d'etat.
Coup d'etat. Well,
yeah.
Before I even talk about the coup d'etat, did you know that his full name actually is Samuel Kenneth Adolphus Bernard Crabbe? So that's S-K-A-B, Crabbe. You belong to the Crabbe family, I see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So coup d'etat.
Yeah.
Suspension versus coup d'etat.
Yeah, basically that's what I called it. You know, it had nothing to do with me. This whole thing was about they chasing Mr. Palafuku and Kwabena Japan, accusing them of all kinds of stuff. I had no problem with whatever they wanted to say. I just thought that they had to use process to try and remove the two gentlemen. Because if you want to remove two very important people in our party, you must show process. Otherwise, you create a situation where people will just pick it up and start using it as you have now, using it all the way down the line. And they said, why?
We'll go into that in detail. But let me start by asking why you want to be general secretary of a party which has suspended you. You see it as a coup d'etat. The party thinks that they've suspended you. Everybody is holding that notion up high. Why do you want to be general secretary for such a party? They've lost confidence in you.
I do not want to be general secretary of the NPP. I want to be the national chairman.
National chairman.
So correction right there.
National chairman, right.
And then also, I have always been saying that, who is the party? I mean, if you have some people sitting in a corner, friends and family, and they have access to the news media and they tout many things and claim certain things on themselves, and then everybody's hoodwinked into believing that that is the party. No, the party, the highest decision-making body of the party is the National Delegates Conference. They make decisions. They are higher than every single person. And if you remember, when we are going for, when we're going for the election, there were a lot of people who you would refer to as the party who did not want any of us in the office. They were very sure.
When you say we refer to them as the party, who are you referring to?
The party, in my view, are those who actually made the decision to make us national officers. The party is not a bunch of unelected people who are able to bring vigilantes together, make a pronouncement, and prevent people from going to the office. So the party will make a decision again.
You're saying that unelected people, a bunch of unelected people who have brought together vigilantes.
Yes, because...
To do what? Because
basically, if you look at what happened, certain allegations were made. First of all, they tried to get rid of the gentlemen by asking them to step aside. It didn't work. They tried to get rid of them by asking them to, as a matter of fact, they asked for impeachment. It didn't work. Then they went on the grounds looking for 40% signatures to oust them through the proper means, that is through Article 10. That also did not work. And then all of a sudden, they had a situation where they had people trump up charges against the gentleman. And then they went to a disciplinary committee that has no authority whatsoever over elected officers, and they made a decision. It was at that point that I came out to say, no, you don't do that. Because what you are doing is sowing a seed that can destroy this party going forward. Because every single elected officer is protected in his office, the security of tenure. Absolutely.
And like
they are not a party.
I'm really going to delve deeper into this, Mr. Crabbe. I'm really interested, and I believe that people who have heard what's happening want to be to know what actually the exact things that happened leading to your suspension. But as we speak, Dr. Amakotufo, for example, is one of the people who have said that persons like yourself who have been suspended do not qualify to vie for any position within the party. Do you think, or what makes you think that you're qualified, first of all?
Well, since you mentioned Dr. Amakotufo, I am doing only what Dr. Amakotufo I did in the past. Several years ago, we then had candidate Kufuor. He was elected, and there were some people who felt that they said all kinds of things against candidate Kufuor. They said he was a mumu, he didn't have money. So they tried to oust him, the same way they ousted Afoko and Kwabena Japan. And Dr. Amakotufo was the very person who went into that scattered everything and made sure Kufuor came down from London and stopped it. So there are some people whose mentality is that whenever people have been democratically selected, they would act. So it's very sad. It's very sad that people like Amaku Kufuor, who have championed and resisted people removing elected people, like nearly happened to candidate Kufuor, who later became president, have gotten to this point where for some reason trying to please people are coming to say that if Sammy Crabbe stood up against the illegal and unconstitutional removal of people who have been elected in this particular instance, Sammy Crabbe should not be allowed to run. In any case, let's even accept, assume without admitting, as the lawyers will say, that I'm even suspended. Nobody ever suspended me as a member of the party. I was suspended, quote and unquote, as the second vice chairman of the party. Right. I remain a member of the party. I have a right to contest, so I shall contest. And this will not be the first time people have actually tried to contest me when I have shown that I'm going to win. When I was running for Greater Accra Regional Chairman, this same issue happened. In fact, there was a 3-member committee that actually ended up even disqualifying me totally from running. At the end of the day, when the pressure comes, it's very fun. This is politics. This is not just going on the media and having a bunch of people and talking. When the time comes and the pressure comes, people run away. Okay. And I'm saying people did run away when I was running as the Greater Accra Regional Chairman, and I got 58% of the vote. Okay. So this is not new at all. That when people feel insecure, they want to organize to make sure people are not allowed to run.
And this is there's a very interesting trend in what you say, Mr. Crabbe, and you keep referring to a bunch of people using vigilantes to oust people, to remove people from office unconstitutionally, people who have access to the media and who come out there and to put things out there and touting, etc. But you just keep saying people. People should have a name or have some names.
Well, people, they know themselves, and I'm sure everybody...
Well, that's not fair to anybody at all.
Everybody, well, basically, I'm not going to mention names here.
Why not?
I only mentioned Dr. Amaku Kufuor's name because specifically stated that Dr. Amaku Kufuor said
he's one of the people who
fine. If you mention a name, I know plenty people and have histories about each and every one of them.
Okay, let's start with Freddie Blay.
If a name is put on the table, Freddie Blay hasn't said anything for me to hear, for me to answer him.
He hasn't said anything.
So basically, if Freddie Blay comes out and says something, I shall answer Freddie Blay.
Okay, so hold on for me, sir.
Dr.
Let me give you this
has said something, and I'm answering him.
I get that. Yeah. But hold on. Now, when you speak of a bunch of people doing so and so and so, at the moment, a bunch of people is headed by Freddie Blay, who is the acting national chairman. There is John Boadu as well. So let's start with the party executive. At the moment, the party executive. Are they those you're referring to?
No, I don't shy referring to Mr. Freddie Blay and John Boadu as usurpers. They are beneficiary of a coup d'etat. We need to move away from that mentality where people don't respect the voice of the people. And I gave you a little history because you mentioned Dr. Amaku Kufuor. When then candidate Kufuor, these are facts, they wanted to get rid of candidate Kufuor even though he had been legitimately elected and did all kinds of things. And Dr. Amaku Kufuor himself was at the center of it all to make sure it did not happen. He spoke against it. He fought against it, and it didn't happen. Okay. That's exactly what I also did.
Right.
Mr. Freddie Blay, Mr. John Boadu, I keep asking, in my constitution, in our constitution, the Patriotic Party, there's nothing like acting general secretary and acting chairman. In my view, they are usurpers. And people with that kind of mentality, people who don't want to respect the voice of the people, people who don't want to accept defeat, because in the run-up leading to the election, all kinds of things were said about those two gentlemen. They still went out there, and the party, madam, not those the cabal, the party, the 5,500 or so people on the ground, listened to all the arguments and said, I want these gentlemen to lead us. We want these gentlemen to lead us, regardless of the arguments we have made. You can't bring back those arguments and try and bring in vigilante groups, stop them from working, and then come up with all kinds of things, hoodwink everybody. What I said was, you can't hoodwink me. If you want to remove people, do not go with this indefinite suspension, because if you have a term, office term, 4 years, and somebody should say he's suspending you indefinitely, he's effectively removing you from office.
But then they are influenced by the cabal within the party that you refer to.
There are some people who want to kill democracy within NPP, okay? They, every time even when they get a chance, there's an amendment, all they want to do is to reduce the powers of the people on the ground, the very people who work for us to be where we are today. Those very people, they want to chip away their influence and their power and their rights. And then even when they have worked for us to come into power, they treat them as if they're trash.
What do they want to benefit from this?
What
do you think those who keep reducing, those who keep working at reducing the power of the masses, or the people who are working, what do you think they want to benefit from that process?
We may have to ask him, but my thinking is when you have people who are very autocratic and very dictatorial, their aim is always to make sure that slowly, they take away your rights. You know, they disenfranchise you. And it's very slow. You will not even see. They will start going out there and then also touting things like no more elections. I prefer that you select. You don't have to elect. Those are words that when they start coming out, you must panic. Because now what they have done is successfully remove people who have been legitimately elected. And when people came out to speak against it, they also went at those people, 40 executives in the party, they said they had suspended. Now they think they have gotten away with it. They tried at the amendment conference to come with all kinds of things to reduce the powers of the people. The people did not accept. Certain things that were even thrown at you. We're given the impression that the then candidate or candidates of our party are leaders of the party. If you recall what happened in Kumasi, people were trying to now put that thing in our constitution. It was unconstitutional.
And it took the president himself to
but it wasn't.
But then,
I'm asking a question. Was it? It wasn't. If it was,
yes, it wasn't.
They would not have tried to put it in. So I'm saying that so many things that were done, people were kind of carried along a certain path. They were told things that somehow they kind of believed. They gave people bad names so people would lynch them. And then try to go out there and see if they could use an opportunity that they thought they had to take away more powers from the people.
Who is the organizer of the coup, Mr. Crabbe? I think you know.
Oh!
This is a coup against you. You must know your enemies because now you want to contest for the General Secretary. You must know your enemies to be able to fight them.
But as we have even said, I have my strategies. I understand exactly who they are. I know what their moves are likely to be. Like I said, this is going to be the first time. People have tried to prevent me many times because my agenda and my thinking is very opposite to theirs. My agenda and my thinking, anytime I've been elected, I pursue that vigorously. I make sure I protect the people on the ground. I used to be Greater Accra Regional Chairman. What I did is there for everybody to see. You cannot, I shall not allow you, regardless of who you are, to go and prey on innocent people who work for you to retain your position.
Who are your political enemies?
I don't have enemies. I have people.
Political enemies.
I don't have political enemies.
Who do you think are these people who are so bent on having you tagged or seen as a suspended second vice chairman?
Madam, there are people within the NPP. Every single NPP person who is hearing my voice knows exactly what a cabal is and what they try to do. It doesn't pay. A lot of them have even realized that it doesn't pay to be sycophantic because some of the things that they thought they would get, the kind of rewards they thought had been promised or things they thought they would make, didn't come through. People are realizing that it doesn't pay to go hero worshipping. It pays to strengthen the institution, something that I have been advocating all my life and through my political career. And that has made me win elections because this whole thing we are doing is about making sure that anybody who works for you to get into power benefits from the power.
Okay. Now, you've just tried very hard to tell me why you think that you're qualified. You say you're a member. You've not been suspended as a member. So you're still qualified to contest in this election.
Absolutely.
You have not been able to tell me who exactly is behind this cabal that you believe organized this coup d'etat. But there seems to be a number of concrete reasons why you should not be considered. First of all, let's say, so one, you oppose it, but you were suspended for the party for what perhaps they're calling disloyalty. You took the party to court after that because you disagreed. You still disagree with your suspension even after the court dismissed the case. Now you continue to make comments that's not necessarily in the interest of the party. For example, you mentioned the sycophancy here, and it's referring to a group of people you think are around the presidency, for example, that you think are just sycophants. Do you see all of these? You also mentioned the digital address system. You think that the cost is overbloated. These are not things that necessarily work in the interest of the party. Do you think these things that you say are constructive criticism, or better still, attention seeking?
Why should anybody have a problem with me making comments about things that I have issues with?
After
Why should anybody?
Suspended?
It doesn't really matter. I will speak, nobody will gag me. In any case, we are right now celebrating Joshua Hamidou. And why are we celebrating him? Because
Hamidou, you mean Martin Hamidou?
Sorry, Martin Hamidou.
Right.
Why are we celebrating Martin Hamidou? We are celebrating because he stood up to the NDC.
Okay.
He spoke. He took them to court. So we are celebrating Joshua Hamidou to the point that we have even given him a post. The NDC, a party that we normally refer to as a Patapa party, has never tried to suspend or prevent Joshua Hamidou from exercising his rights.
Hamidou.
Sorry,
you keep changing his name as much as I keep changing your position, the position you're vying for.
They have never ever tried to suspend or stop Martin Hamidou from exercising his franchise or his full rights as a member. So we, Dankwa Buzia tradition, we believe in democracy. Who is afraid? Why should people be afraid of what I say? I keep saying and I keep touting that this is politics. We all move out there. Let's respect people when they make a decision.
Why do you say it in the media? Are you not, you're just seeking attention?
No,
or did you
not.
have a plan to all the time have the plan to to contest for the general the national chairman position, which is why you kept saying this, so that you just still remain in the media, have some relevance.
No, I say that because I want you to be noting and recording them. Let me tell you something. This is the greatest threat to our internal democracy, and it could even overflow and affect and threaten the national democracy.
How?
As somebody who has been elected by the people to protect their interests, it is very important that I stop this before it overflows to them, because what can then happen is, if I don't speak against it and fight against it on behalf of the voiceless, what can happen is, if you are contesting with somebody, for example, and you think that, wait a minute, this guy is too strong for me, as happened in Kumasi recently, you can go to the disciplinary committee chairman, it happened, and the disciplinary committee chairman, yesterday, 2 days ago, even suspended somebody before the election. That's what I was fighting against, because if you make a mistake and you recruit certain people and use them in a coup d'etat, it is very difficult to rein them in when they take that as a tool and begin to use it all the way down there.
Can you be a bit more specific? Is Dr. Makutufo one of the people who have been recruited to organize this coup, and is he using it negatively?
Well, basically, somebody has been reported to have suspended someone.
Dr. Makutufo.
Good.
He's the chairman of the disciplinary committee in the Ashanti region.
Yes, 2 days. So now, the voice of the people would never count. The people who have to make a decision, they're being robbed. Because you are using this disciplinary committee to eliminate people you do not want to be elected. If I have a problem with you, if I'm contesting, in any case, I can even contest with you and lose. Once I lose, all I need to do is to buddy up with the disciplinary committee chairman. Then you arrange for us to write certain frivolous stuff against me. And then they suspend me indefinitely.
Is that what's happening?
Of course. That is what is happening. There are even other people. Wild West, for example, there is a chairman, a Wild West chairman, Alaji Major. He never even went through process. They said they had, suspended him indefinitely, effectively removing him as an officer. His people who elected him had no say. If we allow this to go on, that's why I'm speaking. As I said, I never spoke when they said they should step down. Did you hear me speak? Because they were trying to use political means to remove people. I never spoke when they said impeachment. I never spoke when they went across the country to look for 40% of the signatories that are required to be able to initiate a process of removing an officer. I never said anything. I only started speaking when I smelled that they were using unconstitutional means. And it's my responsibility and duty to speak so that I'll prevent what is happening today. It could even go over. You can elect a parliamentary candidate. If somebody does not like the parliamentary candidate, he's an elected official, that person can go to a disciplinary committee, okay? And then buddy up with a disciplinary committee. Somebody comes and says so many things against that parliamentary candidate. And then that parliamentary candidate is suspended indefinitely. Therefore, somebody else will run. Madam, this is very, very, very serious. And that is why I spoke. It is not about my position. My desire to maintain the integrity of the NPP electoral and the democracy within NPP is stronger than my desire to maintain my office. That's not the point. The point is I have been elected not to go and buddy up and suck up to anybody. All those people are my friends.
Were you approached by any particular person or any particular group of persons asking you to buddy up in your, or to borrow your word, to remove Paul Afoko and Kennedy Japan?
It's on record. It's on record.
Who?
Please, it's on record. I make sure, you say I speak, I make sure that leading to the coup d'etat, when they set up a committee to talk about how we could resolve these things, and the committee, one of the committee members said he thought it was a perception by Afoko that they were after him. I said no, because they called me into meetings trying to recruit me to do that job.
Who called you into meetings?
I'm not going to go there. So if you get a report, you will read. So I said,
I want the report.
Okay, you get a report. You're a journalist, I'm not sure, you're very adventurous, you can get it. So I said that I want the records to show, because I'm not that kind of politician who will one day stand up and say, oh, me myself, this is what I thought. No, I'm speaking it, and I want the records to show. I never came to the media. I said it in that meeting, that record it, because I want you to know that this is an agenda that has been set. Don't allow this agenda to go through, because you're going to open a Pandora's box. You're going to undermine and destroy the new patriotic party.
Mr. Crabbe,
and that is why I spoke.
You tell me that your desire to make sure that the party is in good standing, to make sure that you build a strong NPP.
Absolutely. And take off our people when we win elections.
Right.
It's stronger than my desire to hold office.
It's stronger than your personal interest.
Yes.
But what you're failing to do is naming and shaming. That is one of the strategies we find in this country works, because people keep doing the wrong thing, but nobody names them, nobody shames them, so they keep on, and then there's a cycle of wrongdoing. Hold on, sir. I just want to. I'm repeating your words back to you. You're telling me that you have an interest, you have a desire to make this party. If you don't name and shame, the cabal is working and it's breaking down the very party that you claim to want to establish, isn't it?
Madam, I am a member of the NPP. Unless somebody comes out there and tries to say something against what I'm pursuing, not myself, because it doesn't bother me at all, then I will come and trace the person's history, and then let us all deal with the issue on the table, like I did with Dr. Makutu. For now, anything else that I believe that can help the party, okay, but I have no reason to bring it out to get the general public to understand, so that they also make sure that democracy is not being bastardized. I put on record in the party. So I have appeared before committees, and I have stated the names of the people who asked me, who called me into the meetings, and I stated when those meetings happened. And I told them that to me, it's not a perception. To me, it's real, I know. When I refused to do that, that was when they went recruiting other people to lead that particular charge. But what is most important is that we are a new patriotic party, we are a party, we are democratic. You don't move people out of the party, you hold people in. It is very important that when we all work and then we achieve, nobody is left behind. That is what I champion. I shall continue to champion that. And I know, because it's not the first time people who you hold out as the media and people out there hold out as so-called leading members of the party have prevented me from running. But the people on the ground who know exactly what I'm worth and what I do, this is not the first time they have lost to me.
How are you even going to find your name on the ballots, on the ballot sheet?
Oh, I told you that when I was running for Greater Accra chairman, they actually disqualified me totally. Disqualified me. I'm a politician. I didn't just fall off the track. I am telling you that I am going to run for the national chairmanship. I don't see why anybody should be worried. After all, the party, the so-called party, is saying that nobody likes me. Nobody wants me. I am hated in the party. Nobody wants to talk to me. Why are they afraid?
You want to put that to test?
No, yeah, they should. Nobody should come. No.
Don't you think you're going to break the party further with this?
I'm not breaking the party. So if we exercise our democratic rights, it means we are breaking the system. This is an argument by people who want to scare people into thinking that democracy itself is not proper. We should rein people in. Some of them are even coming up with theories that there's no need for us to do elections. Elections are processes that allow us to toughen up.
Okay.
For general elections.
I'm running out of time, but I have a few conspiracy theories here. Since you've just mentioned theory about your suspension, one of them is that the party's chances at winning the election at the time was quite dim. You, Kwabena Japan, Paul Afoko were cut off, and the party wins. So really, the problem was with that. Let me use your word, cabal.
Okay.
The cabal of
Okay. I want you to know something. First of all, nobody gave me a letter to say that I was undermining the party, therefore I was being suspended. No. They said I spoke against what had been done. So don't put me in that bracket. That's not what happened. So now, that's number one. Number two, I think it's very, either it's arrogance or ignorance for anybody to think that those of us who sit at the regional level and the national level are the ones who win the election. No. All politics is local. Elections are won and lost at the constituency. So you have hard-working members of parliament, people who become parliamentary candidates, and even constituency executives who are working now, as you and I speak. They are paying school fees, they are taking care of people's medical stuff, they're going for weddings, for funerals. All of these things are part of the campaign. So the campaign for 2020 has already started. So I don't think that anybody can sit there and say that the election or even the brand Nana Akufo-Addo was built overnight. People started building it long before some of us.
People have been working on it.
People have been working on it. To do that is to probably say that nobody else but you won an election. You know what I mean? And then also to look down upon the people who work hard. Maybe that is why when we get into power, they think that those people don't deserve anything. They are the ones who won the election, so they deserve so much. Madam, it's not a problem. Nobody wants Sammy Crabbe. Sammy Crabbe talks rubbish. He does everything. This is not the first time it's happened to me. It happened to me, Greater Accra, I got 58% of the votes. So I'm saying that if anybody thinks that he is the party, he is strong, and he controls and he has authority, they should just pick the forms. It's so easy. And then come and contest Sammy Crabbe. Don't try to use administrative means to try and usurp the powers of the delegates.
That point you've made already.
Yes.
Are you, another conspiracy theory is that those of you who have been suspended were part of a group of people perhaps who were leaking information to opposition. How true is that?
Really? But a whole manifesto was leaked. At that time, we were not around them. So please, when people trump up all these kind of things, I would expect that you ask them for proof. You know, they can't just talk. I keep telling people, I watch CNN, I watch BBC. There's absolutely no way anybody can come and throw such allegations in the air and you let the person go away with it. I was not fooled. When they were doing all of those things, I was never fooled. I was never, ever fooled. So I expect people not to be fooled. You have to open and shine your eyes. People are progressively trying to undermine democracy within NPP. This is not the first time. The late Right Honorable Peter Lajiti said something to me. I've never forgotten. When I was elected as Greater Accra Regional Chairman, he called me to his house and said, Sammy, I want you to make sure that you never ever use administrative means to make political decisions. You just be elected as a regional chairman. Go ahead, do your job. Your job is to prepare the way. Your job is not to try and make sure that you determine who has to run in it. Leave it to the delegates.
What's the relationship between yourself, Mr. Polafoko, and Kwabena Japan?
No, it's very funny. You know, we all came from different angles. I campaigned on my own. Afoko came on his own. Kwabena Japan came on his own. I've known Kwabena Japan. I mean, you can't be in the party and never know Kwabena Japan. Kwabena Japan has worked so hard for the party. So I've known him. I've admired him.
As we speak, what's the relationship like?
I don't talk to him that often.
Okay.
But once in a while we chat. We don't discuss even politics.
Recently he's been speaking, and there are a couple of groups that's pushing for his reinstatement. I'm sure you're aware of this. What do you think?
Well, I don't know whether he is trying to get reinstated. As for me, I don't know what the reinstatement will be. Reinstatement to what? My issue
well,
at the time.
You've been suspended.
No, my issue. My issue at the time was very clear. My issue was that, please, do not go out there trying to overthrow people who have been democratically
that you made
elected.
Quite clear.
So if you want to reinstate what? There's nothing to reinstate.
Well, the party says you'll be suspended. So if it's reinstating you, reinstating
no,
you
it's
to
an
position.
issue. It's an issue that is on the table. As for my position, I keep saying it all of the time. What is a position if you cannot use it to fight for the people who put you there? So my position is not a seat that I'll go and sit on. If anybody is elected or made a minister or anything, and the person thinks that the person doesn't understand that the person has to have a strong desire, or his desire to maintain integrity is stronger than his desire to maintain his office, that person will be a failure.
How did the Akufo-Addo versus Alan Kyerematen camp system within the party bring the party where we are now with suspended executive?
I don't know. I don't even know Kyerematen's house. He knows that. He's listening. I've never even been to his office before. I don't know. I don't know where those tax and things come, but it serves some people well, so they do it. Even President Kufuor, when he attended then President Mahama's inauguration, some people went over to his house, said he was NDC. This is common. When they want to hang you, then they give you a bad name. This is very common. And
have you ever believed in Akufo-Addo as a presidential candidate? I mean, if you were to choose him between Alan Kyerematen?
No, you don't ask me such a question, because what you want me to do is to
It's a question. How you answer is really up to you.
No. When I was Greater Accra Regional Chairman, I pushed for a document called the MOU. I made each and every one of them, the current president and Kyerematen, the leading contestants. I made them sign an agreement as to how the party is going to share the positions with them. That the constituencies in the various municipalities, metropolis, and assemblies are the ones who are going to select. Our party people, the constituency people, will select the person they want to be their DC and have them appoint. That the regional executive committee will select the regional minister. That the party will have a certain quota, because we must be joined in such a manner. So if I did favor one person over the other, there's absolutely no way I would have remained that neutral to lead a campaign within the party to have them sign.
If you had your way, would you have a choice between them?
I am an officer of the party, so I can never ever answer that question, because my job is to make sure that I have an open field. I mean, I be fair to each and every one of them, and that's what I have done. And nobody who has been a candidate before and has had to come and campaign in my region or come through me ever, nobody has ever said that I've never been fair to everybody. Okay. I try as much as possible to play the role that I've been elected to play.
How do you know that the feeling of the party and those who sacked you does not resonate with the people you're calling the party, the delegates, the people on the ground?
Now you see, this is where we are now. You are saying people I'm calling the party, and then the party. They are the party. It's the other block of people who I am referring to as people who are not the party, but have held themselves up in such a manner that everybody believes that they are the party. So anytime, when Mr. Fuku was going, for example, which is the most recent, so I'll use, all kinds of things were thrown at him. When he went there, the party, the owners of the party, having listened to everything, say, hey, you can't hoodwink us. They are the party. If anybody feels that they are the party, it's not a problem. They should pick the forms and go there and appear to the people who are not the party, who don't deserve anything when we win. They are just people who are appendices because they are not the party. They should just go and go through the process. I'm sure that when the people see them, they'll start shaking and falling all over and then vote for them to be chairman and this thing.
What makes you think you do a better job as compared to what Freddie Blay has done, is doing?
You know, there are two issues that I've championed all through my political life, and I've seriously believed in them. I have believed that anytime anybody works for an organization, it's very important that that organization assures them that as they work for it, their needs will be met. And that is called motivation. Okay. It's very important. I've always believed, and I've always championed that it is missing. It's very important that we structure things so that we can take care of our own. It's very important. I also believe that if somebody is an executive and the person has been elected, and this will not be the first time, even John Boydu. John Boydu used to be an executive at Ablikuma South. Teresa Tego removed him when he was an elected executive. We stood up. When I became regional chairman, I stopped the late Teresa Tego, may her soul rest in perfect peace. I stopped her from pushing along those things. So there are a lot of people, I don't want to mention that I have protected, fought the so-called cabal to make sure that they've had opportunities and chances within the party. Some of them are ministers. The sad thing is that some of them have now joined the very people that I fought to give them opportunities to also try and then trample down upon other people.
Some of them are ministers, you say. It means that the cabal has been around for a very long time because you're tracing.
Well, they keep recruiting.
Yes. How are you going to deal with this cabal when you become the national chairman of the party?
Well, basically, it is the people. It's very important. During the campaign, we are going to have a conversation. And then the people must accept and agree that power resides with them, not with some friends sitting somewhere and some families. No, the power resides with them. They must send a clear message out there that no, they're going to allow anybody to overthrow illegally people they have elected, because it can trickle down to them. So
you're saying that you're going to motivate the people to stand up against the cabal?
No, I never said that. I am going to ask the people to vote for progress, for someone who will make sure that nobody will use any kind of patapa or trump up charges against them and rob them.
What I'm asking is how you're going to deal with this as a national.
No, that's what I'm saying. When I get them and we get there, it diminishes their role. I am also going to appeal to the people that anybody who has been a part of this, trying to rob them of their powers and trying to exclude them from government, and they also benefiting from government, as it were, they should make sure they send a strong message. None of those people should be allowed to come close to leadership. Okay. We will reform them.
Unfortunately, I've run out of time, yes. But I just quickly want you to give me, let's say, 5 key things, or maybe 3. Let me reduce this to 3 key things that a national chairman, Sammy Crabbe as national chairman, will make that change. What change will you make in the NPP?
Well, first of all, I believe that we must have a very strong party. That party must be very separate from government. I am going to make sure, as I did, because I built a platform, that we will diversify the means by which we bring in money, so we don't have individuals trying to control us. And that the party itself exercises its duty of care. We go out there and take care of our people, because people work. Some of them even die in the process. Who takes care of their families? Who take care of their spouses? What is going to happen? Some of them even lose elections and they become former chairmen, former executives. What do? Who takes care of them? And that I have a proven track record of doing.
So you're looking at the welfare system.
It is important, even for the sake of Ghana, because if we build a very strong party, we take care of our own. We will not put pressure on your coffers. It's very important. Then the second thing too is to make sure that democracy within the party is entrenched. You know, we have issues within the party. The problem is not less democracy, as some people are out there advocating that, okay, we don't want to have elections anymore, somebody should come and then select everybody. But it is more democracy. It is making sure that the people's rights are protected at all costs, making it impossible for anybody to go out there and stage a coup d'etat against
By people. Doing what exactly?
Or by trumping up charges, for example, as happened. And it can happen again. It can go on. If you are sitting down and you think an MP, and if you keep quiet, you'll be comfortable. Be very careful. Because one of the cases that happened in Kumasi, is an MP who is going out there and fighting it. That MP probably sat on the fence, never came out there to defend the party against that cabal. But now, it has come to the MP's doorstep. The MP's own chairman has been suspended a day before the election to eliminate him. How can you even do this? Remember that Hitler was elected. He wasn't appointed. He didn't come in through a coup d'etat.
Your third point.
Yeah, he was elected. So if you make a mistake and you think that because people look like democratic or they look like they uphold democracy and you just go to sleep, you blink once, the time you realize this party has been, every effort we've made has been rolled back. So those are the key things that I am going to champion.
Okay, so first you mentioned removing or creating a welfare system to make sure that you remove...
No, making sure that we take our own. We take care of our own.
You take care of your own, so that you remove individual control and individual support.
Absolutely, and build a party that is strong enough, take care of these people, and then not put pressure on the national person.
I take that as tying in into the motivation that you mentioned.
Yes, I believe so. Isn't it Maslow who said that?
That's it? Yes. Okay, so that's motivation and entrenching democracy. One more.
Now, those are the 2 main things that in my view, if I succeed in putting them in place with their help and support, once we do that, It will push away anybody who has any negative mindset. Those people who want to erode democracy in the party, all of them will find their level.
So these are the things that are lacking in the party. These are the things that, for example, Freddie Blay leading the team at the moment has not been able to do.
You know, we have won power. The people at the grassroots won the power. Nobody at the national level went to any polling station in Paga or Bumbulugu Yoyo on that day. They are not there right now working. They are the people who have done it. Our job is purely administrative. Next is to take care of them. In my view, it has not been done. And many people come to me. Many people come to me. Many party people come to me today to say that after working, they're not taken care of. Nobody minds them. So I'm saying that the party has failed. But it is because we never created a system to support and take care of these things. We moved towards making people strong men, following people and eye service, hoping that when we come into power because of our association.
That brings to mind, is the cabal part of the group that's pushing the vigilante groups within the party? We know of the Delta forces, we know of the Invincible forces and all the things they have done, and the fact that the president has spoken incessantly, but they still keep doing what they want to do. Is the cabal part of the people pushing these groups?
Yeah, absolutely. If you remember, one of the charges against Kwabena Japan was that he wanted to create a command and control system so that he would be able to, discipline and manage those people.
These vigilantes.
Groups. That's what he wanted to do. That was his crime. And what happened was people supported, and I say, and that kind of thing. Today, you see what they've done? Me, Sammy Crabbe, sitting down here. I will never, ever dare even think of going to a court, freeing people, going after a judge. So my point, you have made my point. My point is, look, if we make a mistake and think that it's Sammy Crabbe's fight, Sammy Crabbe is a nuisance. It will overflow to the national arena. Because once you have almost half of this country believing that it's okay to remove people who have been elected, trust me, if an adventurist in the military goes and overthrows our president, you can have half of this country, trust me, coming out and thinking.
Are you blaming what we're seeing with the trend of groups within the party being violent on what happened to you, the suspension to you and other executives?
Now, I am telling you, and it's in your records, I'm sure you have the videos, when they were stoning Kwabena Japan's car, when they were vandalizing the party office, because Kwabena Japan said he wanted to put structure, a command and control system in place. People were saying, what I was saying was, please, or Kwabena was saying at that time was, let us handle them. Because if we don't manage them, it will become a national problem. Boko Haram.
That's what this particular crop of executives have failed. They've not been able to manage the vigilante groups, and that's why we saw the sort of violence from them.
Boko Haram, they didn't just fall from the sky. And they were all political. They were all political operatives. The very moment you have such a group of people in place, and you don't put a structure in place to handle and manage them, you are creating the beginnings.
Is that what the current crop of executive have failed to do?
In my view, they have failed to do that. First, that's one. Two, they were able to even get people, unsuspecting people, to join them in condemning the very person who was doing things that would save Ghana and would save that judge. Who was
trying to control them.
Yes, the judge didn't think that the beating of Kwabena Japan could be linked to her. But she just sat back. She didn't say anything. And that national security officer who was beaten at the regional office, Ashanti regional office, that security coordinator couldn't connect. So when we are seeing it and telling you that let us be very careful, we are not unpatriotic. We are very, very, very patriotic and warning you that look, when you create breeding grounds for certain things to fester, it's only a matter of time.
It catches up with you.
Absolutely.
Kennedy Japan is one of the people who was heard, supporting these people, and it's known. Like you say, it's on record. He's been supporting this group of people, even though at some point he tries to call them to order. Is he a member of the cabal you refer to? Is he part of them?
Look, Kennedy Japan has been talking about these people being taken care of for whatever work they did.
Right.
And that is what I'm talking about.
Okay, so he's not a member of the cabal.
No, I don't consider. I think Japan speaks his mind. That's why I like him. It doesn't matter whether I agree with him or not. I think he speaks his mind. And I think he should be allowed to speak his mind. That's what democracy is all about.
But he's not a member of the cabal.
I don't consider him as a member of the cabal. I've known Kenneth Japan. I don't really think so. What I think is that he is trying to bring out the issue that when people work for you, you need to take care of them. If you do not take care of them, you are creating grounds for certain things, you know, to come and undermine our future as a party. So I agree with him.
Okay.
All Japan was saying was that let us manage these people so that we can.
And you've not been able to do that. You believe that if you are given the nod, you do a better job than Freddie Blay and his cohorts have done.
Well, Freddie Blay is not the chairman of the party.
He's acting.
Is. And there's nothing in our constitution like acting chairman. So I've said it several times. I don't recognize him. So I don't see what work he's doing.
Well, I think you need to face reality. The reality now is that if you go for any occasion and they're calling for the party chairman, it is Freddie Blay who comes up. It's not Mr. Foko. In fact, I can't remember the last time we heard of Mr. Foko in
well, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't matter what you call the person because you guys also joined the chorus by saying that our presidential candidate is the leader of the party. He didn't make it true. So what I'm saying here is I will stand and speak regardless of what you think and what you say because I need to hold my ground. Okay. It's only a matter of time that you will come to know the facts. So if you don't keep to the facts, it doesn't mean that I should also throw the facts out through the window. I am saying that this is what it is. Okay, so I told them that I can never attend any meeting that is convened by someone I don't recognize.
Mr. Crabbe, I'm not very happy that you've not been able to name and shame people who are destroying your party. I get the feeling that my viewers who are NPP persons will not be happy as well.
People who are NPP, they know exactly the point. And in any case, it's not about name, it's about philosophy, about thinking.
Yes, about naming and shaming so that the rot will stop. That's how you stop rot, right? We shall
stop the rot. This is the democracy. It's the people who will elect the right people all through to National Executive Committee and National Council and national officers to make sure that those people are not allowed anywhere near to leadership. They are still members of the party, but will not allow that thinking to take over the party.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds, Mr. Crabbe, to convince my viewers that you did no wrong and that you deserve a chance at the party's chairmanship.
How could what I did be wrong?
In a few words.
How can you celebrate Martin Amudu and say I did wrong? I have the document. They said I spoke against what went on. So if it is wrong, don't celebrate Martin Amudu. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's very important that I speak my mind, speak it in any forum, and you not see it as a threat. It is democracy. It's only people who are dictatorial, feel insecure, who will panic when I speak or anybody speaks his mind. I feel very comfortable when people, actually in my business, in my companies, I have different companies, I pay people to critique me. I pay people to criticize me because it makes me grow. It makes the product grow. It makes the service grow. It makes people appreciate what you're doing, and then we go. So if anybody who has a problem with people speaking, probably maybe a Hitler running for election.
I see.
Yes.
Who is the Hitler running for election? So who are you competing with, by the way? Freddie Blay?
Well, I think the names are out. I think Mr. Freddie Blay, who happens to be my corporate lawyer, so there's nothing personal. Mr. Freddie Blay is running. And then Alaji Short, he's the current Upper West Regional Chairman. He's also running. Okay. And then Stephen Tim, is also running. And my good friend Fred Amankwa Safo, I hear is also running. But of course, it's not official yet. Everybody at this time is exploratory.
Yeah, up until the time that of people. Yeah. And you think you're the best candidate?
Well, I think that I have a message. I have a track record of making sure that I give opportunities to party people who have been in Greater Accra, around the country, have been around when I have been chairman, as I've even been, since I've even been elected as second national vice chairman, the kind of things I've even done, the way my outlook is. I believe that they know that I can take care of them.
Mr. Crabbe, thank you so much for coming. Just let me remind you that his full name, by the way, is Samuel Kenneth Adolphus Bernard Crabbe. We all call him Sammy Crabbe. He's the suspended second vice national chairman. He doesn't believe that he's been suspended. He thinks that there's a coup against him. Any which way, you're still out of power.
I'm not. You know, power is not sitting in the office, eh?
Okay.
Power is influence.
Okay, Mr. Crabbe, thank you so much for coming.
You.
And thank you so much for giving us all of that information that you've given, even though you haven't added who are the people within the party who are destroying the party.
They know themselves.
Okay.